want to go ahead and just add a few things, and then we will turn this over to the council and the public. So let me just also add, I think Tom alluded to this, it is when the plan was originally being developed, we took a conservative approach to how much money we thought we would have in the plan. There ended up being an additional $12.3 million that once the final bill was signed, were in that plan for Long Beach. And so I think you will probably all have a memo that was sent earlier today that outlines some broad strokes and some areas of where there could be need for those resources. And I want to just kind of list those for the public since they weren't part of the formal presentations. For the additional 12.35, we've got proposed on the economic recovery section an additional $2 million for micro and public transit pilot programs. That is a program that's been brought, that the council has adopted but has not been funded, and I want to thank Councilwoman Price for her advocacy on that program. There's an additional $2 million for direct income pilots. These are happening now everywhere. The state is funding some, the feds are, to our ability to kind of micro-target communities that need additional direct income support. So that's very supportive of that. There's an additional $1.25 million for economic empowerment zones. Most of you have been already advocating for these, but it allows us to grow that pot of money so we can really have some great zones. I know I've been talking to Councilman Austin for particularly his interest around the African American Cultural Center and the Mercado, which I know has been brought up, and so many others that are out there. And so this gives us an opportunity to increase that economic empowerment zone opportunity. There's an additional $1 million for childcare and early childhood ed in here. Then under the healthy and safe community, there's an additional $5 million on housing support, which is really the big need right now in the city, particularly around down payment assistance, which would be a big chunk of that, which I think we all have talked about, is getting first-time homeowners the ability to buy their first home in Long Beach. And that's something that's missing in the plan. Particularly want to thank you, Vice Mayor. I know you brought that to the council last year, but was supported by all of us. We've all been kind of talking about that as an initiative. And the idea of beginning a public land trust, I think, is very exciting. Also in here, and some rental housing navigation, and then some other items. Councilmember Uranga, Councilwoman Price, others have talked a lot about libraries, and the item that just came forward. I know Councilmember Uranga, you've always talked about eliminating library fees year after year. So we also set aside some dollars from this additional money to wipe out library fees for the next year, so that our folks that really depend on our library system can have some additional support. So they're not having to pay fee after fee after fee. And then there's additional support in here for the Justice Fund at $300,000 and $500,000 in additional support for language access translation. Staff did note that while language access is spread out across the entire proposal, which we're glad, we could use some additional funding for direct translation of meetings. And so there's an additional $500,000 for just that piece so that we can get all of our meetings translated on the spot. And so that together, the microtransit money, the direct income, economic empowerment, childcare, housing support, language access, library fees, and justice fund rounds out the additional $12.35 million for the full package. So with that, I think most of you are queued up here. Let me go first, and then we'll go to the public as well. I have Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I want to go ahead and start this. What I want to do is I actually want to just give some brief comments, then go to the public before we get into motions. But it's been a very difficult year. We all know that. We've had a crisis on multiple fronts here, and what we have today is comprehensive. That's the key here. It's comprehensive. There's so